real laid back. Yeah, welcome everybody. Can you tell my audience who you are?
International Zoe,
All right.
Barber World TV. You might know me as one or the other.
So how do you get into traveling?
What sparked me to travel was I'm telling my age, man. I was a dancer when I was young. First we danced in the clubs, do all that. Started from the beginning, pop rocking that. Break dancers, we left that to the Latinos. We ain't really, black people, I think the reason why the Latinos excelled in break dancers because black dudes didn't want to get on the floor no more.
Gotcha.
We didn't want to mess up our clothes. So, I used to be pop locking all that. And eventually get to hip hop dancing. So there was a rapper called Special Ed, and his number one song was I Got It Made. So some of y'all might be so young y'all don't know. I was one of his dancers. And he was popular. And he traveled around the United States. And that's when I first started getting on planes and seeing America. And that's what kind of opened my nose to traveling. Then from being in those music videos and being popular and in the clubs, a guy approached me to go to Japan to dance in a fashion show. It was a men's clothing line called Men's Beachy in Japan. And that's when I got my passport. It was 1990, I believe.
Ooh, man.
And that's what got my passport. And I went to Japan. It was my first international flight. And I just love traveling since.
All right. So, what made you come to Africa?
Of course, when you traveling around the world, you're seeing the world. If you're a black person in America, knowing the history or some of the history of America, and going through the movements we went through in America, we had the 70s, and then it came back around with hip hop in like the mid 90s. You had a lot of, they called it Afrocentricity and Afrocentric. So we went through another phase of black Americans embracing Africa, where was it with the clothing. In the 70s it was the dashikis, and then in the 90s it was the kente cloth, so you had rappers like Tribe Called Quest, the Jungle Brothers, and pushing the African or Afrocentric concepts back into the music and the culture. It was a reflection of what was going on in the culture. So I think a lot of black people in America have this affinity for Africa. Now when you get there, it's the reality, but we've had this longing and this affinity to go to what we call the motherland, called going home. So of course, I'm traveling around the world. Africa or the continent is on my list, and my first trip back to Africa was to Egypt.
All right.
I did it big, even though Egypt is now run by Arabs, but we know who built it, and we know the history, and we studied. And shout out to Tony Browder, because I went on his 2-week educational tour, and it was one of the best trips of my life.
Really?
Yes.
I'm gonna do it. I've been to Egypt, but never really on vacation. I passed through working on the ship.
It's not really a vacation place. It's an educational place.
Oh, sweet. All right, good to know.
And when you go, you should go with one of the scholars who is going to show you and explain to you what you're seeing.
Gotcha.
You have to have one Arab guy there because they're licensed, but you want to go with one of the black scholars so they can explain to you who you're seeing, what you're seeing in the history, because even each day we go out, you go home, we go back to the hotel, and there we speak about what we just saw. So it's very important to me to go the right way.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So, all right, to the women, how would you compare the difference between, like, not by looks, but just like being around them African and Latin? Because for me personally, I used to go to DR a lot. I used to go to Colombia a lot. And just like places like Sasua and like the short time, I got over all that. Right. I feel like in Africa, you can get a real girlfriend right away, or you get the semi-pro in between that really wants to hang out with you and you can enjoy. She cook for you, and it's the whole experience. And for me, you only get that in Africa or Asia.
Yeah.
I mean,
I agree.
Colombia you can find it, but you gotta sleep with one eye open.
Yeah. I think in the difference in the Latin countries is that they want to use you for your money. they don't necessarily want to stop doing what they're doing. They still want to hustle, but they want to use you for their money. And I feel like in Southeast Asia and what I experienced in Africa is women will be glad to get out of the fast life and rat race if you're willing to help them. You know, so
Well said. Yeah.
I just, that's what I see, like a big disparity in it, you know.
All right. That makes sense. So in Africa, what's your favorite country in Africa so far, and why?
I also been to Tanzania, South Africa, and now Kenya. You know, I don't really consider Arab countries in Africa African.
Yeah,
Technically it is, but it's not African people.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
to me, if they came, they took over, and it's not the same.
Gotcha.
It will have to be out of the three. And out of the three, I think, and it's going like boom, boom, boom. You know, you got South Africa is on the top.
Yeah.
Then Kenya's in the middle, and
right.
Tanzania is so. And they're all in development, but I would say South Africa is they're there.
I love South Africa too.
Yes.
So tell me why you love South Africa. I love South Africa. This is my number 2.
I think I like South Africa because it is the most developed.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it has all the accoutrements that I like, I appreciate. I think it's easy. It will be easy for me to adapt.
Gosh.
I like the women seem to be intelligent, which I also like. And I was able to go into. I also was taken around by a South African. You know, he took me down to what's the area, Soweto, and he told me some history of South Africa. He brought me into his home. I met his wife. I met his children. He brought me to his brother's house. We sat by the bonfire. You see how the women interact with the men and how they treated the men and respect the men and educated women. You know, so I would say I got more education in South Africa, and it was more developed, and the beauty of the Cape Town and the Table Mountain in the background, I like that. And then you got I didn't get to go to Durban because I went kind of in the winter, but I think it's enough energy and cultures and luxury, and it's just I feel like I like it, and I feel like I could adapt, and I feel like I got the best experience there.
Yeah, I had a good time too.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I go back, I got a homeboy who gave me a Abu tour, and if he like you, and if you're on the weekend, he'll take you on a Soweto tour. But he didn't take me. He took me on a nighttime Soweto tour. Mm-hmm. I had so much fun. He took me to like a house. Yeah, it was like a gambling house. Mm-hmm. And they were playing piano. And they wouldn't even speak that much English. Mm-hmm. And dude was just trying to talk to me in the local language, and it was dancing. I'm like, man, it was like a kickback.
Yeah.
But they were selling beer to people. Right. They were playing cards, and it was such a vibe. I went to the club, and we all went together. Like I felt at home out there. It's like, honestly, if I wasn't already established here, if I went to South Africa first, I probably never would have left. Mm-hmm. But I'm already like rooted here. But I'm gonna probably go back and forth. I got the 5-year visa here, so I figure in like the next 4 or 5 years, I'm gonna start splitting my time between here and South Africa. Yeah. And eventually, in the next 4 years, I'm gonna buy a property down there too. Right. I'm gonna save up and get one there, and I'm gonna have one here, one there, and I'm gonna buy some land. I'm gonna build a big house here too. So I'm gonna have like a property here and a property there. Right. Yeah, man, I went to Durban. I didn't go to Cape Town. Yeah. The Zulu land.
Cape Town is dope. I
heard.
Only reason why I didn't go because it was winter.
Hey, that Zulu land.
I'm definitely going back to South Africa.
And it's funny because when I went there, right, I heard about the xenophobic stuff, and they were so nice to me. Yeah. Hear my accent? They were just bring so much. Yeah. I asked a few people, I'm like, what's up with the xenophobic stuff? I'm like, oh no, we like you. We just don't like Nigerians. Yeah. That's what they told me.
It's more tribals xenophobia. Yeah, I think.
I was in a club by myself in Durban. Like 3 dudes was looking at me. You know me, I'm from the US. I'm like, why are you looking at me? Right. And they was like, I came over there. They started speaking in Zulu. Like, oh, you American, but still hang with us though. You just invited me over, like stuff like that. It was a real vibe. Yeah. Like in Africa so far, I've been to a bunch of countries, and only Kenya and South Africa. Like people just sometimes here, I have more fun going out by myself than in real big groups. Because people invite me. Because sometimes you like the visa, if you're by yourself and you're in a section, they'll squeeze you into some sections. You don't realize that the people, they don't really know each other, right. And they'll squeeze like 3 girls, 3 dudes, and they don't know each other. They'll add you in. Right. And at first it'd be kind of awkward, right. But after a while it get cool, and you had the most fun of your then you came with a whole group. So yeah, man, I love South Africa, man. And Johannesburg, oh man, I like Rosebank.
I stayed in Rosebank.
I like Rosebank because you can just walk everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man,
They got a lot of barbershops and malls and all
Legends,
that stuff.
yeah.
They got it's a vibe. It's definitely a vibe in South Africa, and their nightlife is comparable to, I guess, Atlanta or anywhere. Like, it is vibrant. A lot of pretty girls, a lot of bottles flowing, and like it's. I'm a little older for the clubs and all that stuff, but if you're a young guy, you're gonna have a ball in here and in South Africa for the nightlife.
All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So let everybody know where they can reach you at.
International Zoe on YouTube, Patreon, Instagram, and also on. I started a Rumble.
Ooh,
what I mean? Just as a backup.
There you go.
And I would just say, brothers, don't be afraid to come to Africa. One thing you don't have to worry about, there might be some people who treat you bad, but it won't be to treat you bad because you're black.
And there you go, man. Hey, we outside, man. Hit us up.
Peace.
There you go.
A lot of foreigners here? Is this more like a foreigner attraction or